What if I told you that it's not the work that's stopping you? It's the startup cost. You sit down ready, and then friction shows up. The documents, the tabs, the tools, the next step. Then 10 minutes go by and you still haven't started. Your success is decided by how fast you start.
Welcome to Success Spectrum Podcast, where new entrepreneurs break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable financial confidence, and step boldly into the life and business they were meant to create.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum Podcast, sponsored by Apex Affiliation. I'm your host, Kadeem McLean. Today, all month actually, we've been talking about execution and momentum. We've talked about the mirage, which is the fake progress but no output. We talked about the loop breaker, where one miss turns into quitting. And today we're talking about the villain that comes before all of this, the friction tax. If you've ever been ready to sit down and work, but didn't really begin, this is exactly why. You sit down to execute, you set up, you hunt for documents, links, and notes, you switch tools and tabs, but 10 minutes go by and you still haven't started. You feel behind, you avoid it, and then you restart later. What I'd like you to do in this moment, they say acknowledging is the first step, acknowledgement. So name your friction. Is it the unclear next step? Is it the tool switching? Is it finding resources? What is it that typically stops you from starting when you sit down and you get distracted, let's call it, with all these other things besides doing the actual work? Because whatever that thing is, that's the real bottleneck. Starting is the real bottleneck. I couldn't tell you how many times I sat down on my computer or opened up my laptop ready to do work and things came up, or I got distracted with something else. I sat down to work on the website, but then in doing that, I got distracted by something else because a client called me or whatever the case might be, and I didn't end up doing the work. Or I sat down aiming to reach out to people and put out offers, but then I realized there was an issue with my website or the landing page, and then I go into fixing that, and I just keep setting up, but I never really start. See, here's why this keeps happening. It's mechanical. Starting requires decision. What's first? Where do I start? How do I start? Decisions create resistance, and when resistance comes in, that creates delays. And delays kill momentum before it even begins. Think about a race, the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash. They don't start off the racers in full stride. When that gun goes off to start the race, they start with little steps, mini steps, let's call it, right? They start with little steps versus their full stride. Why? Because they're building momentum so that they can get it up to their full speed, into their full stride, so that they can win the race. The point to this is that momentum is built at the starting line, not the finish line. You got to start with those mini steps so that you can build your speed, build your momentum, and then once you're in full stride, you have your full momentum going. A lot of you have probably felt this experience where when you start messy, when you don't have things clearly laid out in front of you, you're not sure what your next step is, or somebody tells you to do something, or you create a goal, but you don't know how to get to that goal because it's uncertain, it's unclear. You don't end up starting. You end up delaying it for weeks, months, sometimes years, because you don't know what to do and it's unclear, it's uncertain, and it's not clean. But when it is clean, we know what to do. We know the next step we need to take. Then it's so much easier, so much simpler. It's okay, no, I got it, no problem. It doesn't take us weeks or months to start because we know exactly what we need to do to make this thing a reality, to get going, to get started. So the fix isn't motivation, it's a cleaner on-ramp. And that cleaner on-ramp is where the starting point protocol comes in. So tonight, what I'd like you to do is to open up a document or get a notepad, depending on how you like to go about this. You can do it with pen and paper, you can do it on your computer, and open up a document. Title it clearly, add 3 bullet points, and those 3 bullet points are for your next step. Paste the link or resource you'll need at the top of the document for whatever it is you might be doing next, and then write in there the next step. So next step, blank. Next step is blank, so that when you start tomorrow, you can utilize this document as your starting point. You already know what you need to do. Your next step is written there, and you got 3 bullet points to go along with it, so you know what your next step is. This isn't planning out your whole day. This is just planning your first step in advance. And before you go to bed tonight, build that start point for tomorrow. The one task that you've been delaying, use the starting point to work on that tomorrow. Once you do this and you create this document with your next step and the 3 bullet points, I don't want to guarantee, but I can almost guarantee you that it will be so much easier for you, because once starting gets easier, that next step, it's already chosen. So starting automatically gets easier for you. You know what you need to do tomorrow. And if you're like me, when that next step again is clear and concise, we know exactly what we've got to do, then it feels, you feel like a burden that says lifted off your shoulders, and it's very, you know what target you're aiming for. When you don't know what target you're aiming for, you're going to hit nothing. But when you have a target, it's clear, it's simple, it's easy, and we can get it done. There's been things that I've been challenged with doing, and they've been delayed because I don't know what my next step is. It's not clear to me what to do, what step to take, which direction to head in. Sure, the direction might be clear, but the next step in terms of the day-to-day activity is not very clear to me. So guess what? It's been weeks and I haven't done the thing yet. But when we make it clear, it becomes easier. In a second, I'll give you the rule that makes starting automatic. But first, here's a quick self-mastery result so that you can see clearly what clarity looks like in real life.
Man, what's the deal? I want to shout my boy out, Kadeem McLean, for just going over the flight assessment with me. Very knowledgeable, very aware. Just to give you like a quick example, as fluent as he was explaining the information, I not doubted myself, but I questioned, would I be able to explain the same information if I was in his shoes? Not to say that I wouldn't get my best foot forward, but just the way that he explained the information, thorough and was very detailed and accommodating, it just made me feel comfortable even to give more information maybe than even that was needed. But that's just how comfortable that he made me. You want to work with someone that will make you feel comfortable so that they will be able to extract everything out of you, even things that may pop up as far as improv, right? Just right on the spot. So look no further than Kadeem McLean. He gonna get you together.
Now for the first 60-second rule. If you don't begin in 60 seconds, friction wins. Your start needs to have one clear lane, one task. It needs to have the clear next step, and it needs to have a micro start, which is your small visible action. If you're, for example, choose one of these, whichever one you might be aiming to accomplish. If you're creating content, for example, write down 3 bullet points to help you plan out that content. If you're doing outreach, send one warm message. If you are creating an offer, write 3 sentences for your invite. What you're doing in these cases is you're lowering the cost of starting, and discipline is easier when starting is cheap. And I'll give you an example of this. When I wake up in the morning for the gym, if I sit there and I wait to feel ready, I'm not going to the gym. I feel comfortable. It's warm under my blanket. I feel comfortable. I can go back to sleep for another couple hours at least before I got to wake up and get ready for work. If I wait to feel ready, I'm never going to get started. But if I give myself honestly less than 60 seconds, maybe 2 to 5 seconds before I have to get up and get going, I can make it happen. But if I wait to feel ready, it's not going to happen. I just got to get up and just begin, just get going, because that way I can make it to the gym. If I sit there and I think about it, I'm going to allow myself to talk myself out of it. So just get up and just begin.
What if shopping could earn you cash instead of just costing you? You've been stuck in the cycle, tap, swipe, spend, watching your paycheck just disappear. But one day, after you stumbled onto this app called Rakuten, you ask yourself, why am I paying full price when I don't have to? But then you think, maybe it's just another gift. Then one of your friends tell you about this app called Rakuten, who makes them money and gives them cash back and rewards for thousands of stores every time they make a purchase that they were made anyway. You try it once, you discover hidden deals, compare prices, and you start winning. Shopping becomes a strategy. Every tap pays you back, and you still get what you want. You share Rakuten with your friends, watch your income grow, and become more financially confident. Download the Rakuten app today and keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket.
Now let's turn this into a 7-day plan so that we can clearly follow it. This is going to be your 7-day scorecard. Tonight, do that start point. It's going to take you 2 minutes. Tomorrow, start within 60 seconds. We got to make sure we set that timer, start within 60 seconds, because if you sit down and you don't start within that 60 seconds, you're going to get distracted. You're going to keep setting up. So protect that first 10 minutes. This is the last piece of it. Protect that 10 minutes. Work on the one task for that 10 minutes until it is complete. Side note, you'll probably end up working on it for 10 minutes. But 10 minutes is good because it lowers the barrier of entry. It lowers the starting cost in our mind because we're not worried about working on it for an hour. That's a pretty long time. But 10 minutes, we can do that, no problem. So work on it for 10 minutes until that first win is complete. Now, out of these next few things I'm going to list here, pick one start line deliverable for the next 7 days, not 4 of them, just one. If your aim is to do more outreach, do 1 outreach message a day. If it's content, do 3 bullet points a day. If it's an offer you're creating and sending out there, write 1 3-sentence invite each day. If it's your environment to help you set up and lower that cost of entry or that starting cost, set up your environment the night before. Open up the docs, the links, the next step on your computer before you put it to sleep so that when you open it the next day, it's already there for you. Choose one of these and track it for the next 7 days to see how long it takes you to start when you sit at your desk or at your computer. And this is what it looks like. If day 1, you measure that time to start and it's 60 seconds, for example, cool. Day 7, if it's still 60 seconds, we've got some work to do. But if it's 20 seconds that it takes you to start, your time to start, then guess what? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's what we're aiming for. We are aiming to lower that starting cost. And if you do that over the next 7 days, you win. If you don't, then just keep going until you can lower that starting cost, because momentum returns when starting becomes cheap. So what we covered in this episode is that the friction tax is an expensive start. Your next move is to make tomorrow's start easier than today's. Because when starting gets cheap, execution stops being a fight and becomes the default. And if you're somebody who keeps stalling at the starting line, you don't need more motivation. You need clarity on what's creating resistance and one clear next step that you can execute on and follow through on. Self-Mastery is a 45-minute private clarity call built to cut through the mental noise and leave you with one clear executable item. Get clarity, take action, click that link in the description or go to apexaffiliation.com/self-mastery. And one final takeaway for you is that your success is decided by how fast you start. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you got something from this. And if you know anybody who can benefit from this message or from this channel or any of the content that I've ever created or will create, send it out to them. Click that like button, click that subscribe button. I appreciate you for stopping by. Success isn't a destination, it's a spectrum. So keep evolving. Kadeem here, and I'll see you on the next one.